number one in my list of films that I like but everybody else seems to hate, Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, I have met most of the people I know like this movie, but a lot of the internet critics online that I've seen have kind of bashed this movie. The Crusader hated it. He thought it was the worst film of 2010. And Doug Walker hated it. It was a kind of pathetic excuse that he came up with, though. He just, sounded like he really wanted to find a reason to hate the movie, so he just said, "Ooh, Alice in Wonderland isn't supposed to have a plot." In fact, I'm glad that this movie had a story, because Tim Burton, I love the guy, but most of his movies are just nonsensical anarchy, and if you know my taste in movies, you know that I value a story, first of all, in any movie. No matter how good the special effects are, no matter how good anything is, the number one detail is story. If the story sucks, the movie sucks, unless there's an exception. Tron Legacy, story sucked, but the special effects were some of the best I've ever seen, so I liked Tron Legacy, so yeah. This movie had really good special effects, and honestly, it had a story that was not fantastic, but it was plausible. I mean, Alice in Wonderland is supposed to be pretty nonsensical and stuff, but this movie was nonsensical, but it still had story, and that I like about it, and there are a lot of things that I like about it. In fact, it's a really great movie, one of the best of 2010 in my opinion. It's an incredible movie. One of the values of the story is the character of Alice, how this was basically she was the world that she's in does not treat her too kindly, and she's basically, how do I put it? The relationship between her and Johnny Depp as the Mad Hatter I liked. Basically, they're both considered outcasts in their world, and they're both basically, what they're doing is, they're both considered outcasts in their world. They're both considered freaks and stuff like that, and with this move and how they got it across, they basically they kind of, this is with the Mad Hatter at least, he finds solace in her, and I do kind of like how they hinted at the romance between the two, Mad Hatter's affections towards her at least. But something that I really liked about both characters is what Mad Hatter's main attribute is his dedication to helping his own world, and his bitterness because of everything that's happened, and it's his determination to win for good is what makes him such a strong character. And what makes Alice a pretty strong character is how, for a couple of minutes in the movie, that's all it takes to flesh this character out. The first couple minutes of the movie is all it takes to flesh out this character. That's really good stuff. And how I liked is she really seemed to fit in Wonderland. When you're seeing her in this world, you're getting the feeling this is probably where she belongs in the first place. She may just screw the real world and just come here, but what I like about it is how she ultimately kind of chooses the real world, even though she probably fits in more with this place. It'd be so much easier, but she kind of acknowledges that there are things in the other world that like she needs to do to like she needs to set things right with like her family and stuff, with basically everybody kind of well, how do I put it? I'm trying to think. Well, she kind of like, instead of just running from the real world, she ultimately acknowledges, after saving the day in Wonderland, she acknowledges that as much as she might deny it, the real world is where she belongs, so because all her family is there and stuff, and like that's basically a sign of like character with strong judgment, because like also how it turns out that she's the child of prophecy for like to overthrow the Red Queen by slaying the Jabberwocky. That was very good, because she was kind of hesitant about fulfilling this kind of stuff at first, but I really like how she thinks this is all a dream at first. She's not even sure if Wonderland's real or not. Basically, she thinks that it's a dream at first, but ultimately when she finally realizes that this is the real world, she seems to come to this sudden realization that this world really needs her help, and that without her it's pretty much doomed. So she puts on like all the armor and stuff that like the last hero who fought the Jabberwocky War, and she goes out and faces her destiny. That's like sign of a character with strong judgment. I like that. And also, what I liked about it, a lot of people have complained about the nonsensical stuff that happens in this movie, but honestly, it's Alice in Wonderland. What did you expect, guys? But I really loved how they blended in the nonsensical anarchy while also added in the story, and that was like really, that was a sign of great writing. But also the characters were, this is probably a flaw of the movie. Most of the characters, aside from like certain other individuals, were stereotypes, but I guess that's how they were meant to be. Like Tweedledee and Tweedledum, they were the arguing sibling stereotype. The mouse, whose name escapes me, she was the "oh no, you're not the hero" kind of person stereotype character. But there's really not much stereotypes in this movie. Most of the stereotypes are actually pretty fun. I particularly enjoyed the Cheshire Cat. He was a really fun character because of how elusive and on top of the game he was. And I really liked the Helena Bonham Carter as the Red Queen because of how over the top she was. But probably my favorite performances in this film is Crispin Glover as Alosevich Stain, who's the Red Queen's right-hand man. This guy's arguably, in my opinion, the best live-action villain Disney's ever made, because I don't know, the Red Queen is the one who's endangered Wonderland. She took it over. She's enslaved everybody, but in my opinion, this guy is the real villain of the movie. He's the muscle of all that the Queen does. He's kind of manipulating her also, because like the Queen's just like a dumbass and kind of a tragic figure as well. But the Alosevich Stain is the sneaky socialist, the sneaky like, he's what I call in movie, like, he's the Starscream cliche. Basically, he's seeking power for himself, and he's snuggling up to the Red Queen to get it. And I love how towards the end, when he knows that he's lost, he tries to snuggle up to the White Queen as well, get close to her to get more power, but he gets banished with like the worst, like the most hated woman in the land, and he's begging for death. That part was great. I should probably bring in another part of this movie that just this is something that really pissed me off. Actually, Christopher Lee as the Jabberwocky was great. If you know me in real life, you know that Christopher Lee is like one of my absolute favorite actors. He is awesome. Like how he projects, the cool voice he has, how he projects it, the emotions he captures. He's basically a god when it comes, like a mega god when it comes to acting. But like, you put him in this movie and you only give him 3 fucking lines. What the hell? I mean, he's Christopher fucking Lee. Oh my god. What the hell? Like, it's basically like, I don't know if, like in Transformers 3, I think they gave Amy Adams a cameo or something. Like, she didn't even say anything. She's a talented actress, but like I think she was in the movie, but they only gave her a cameo. I'm not sure. I could barely see shit with that 3D. I saw it in IMAX. But this movie had great 3D. It didn't like affect how I saw things at all. Perfectly done 3D. It wasn't like blurry at all like most movies I've seen. Transformers 3, I could not tell what the fuck was going on. And The Last Airbender and Clash of the Titans didn't even have 3D. They wanted to have 3D, but they just relied on it. And Resident Evil Afterlife, 3D was okay. Movie just sucks. But this movie did the 3D perfectly, because it made you feel like you were in that world, like you were in Wonderland yourself. It really felt like that. It was amazing, and it's just amazing. And I think other people hate. You know, I need to keep this rolling more. This is like #1 on the list. So yeah, Christopher Lee's being reduced to a cameo is just bullshit. It reduced one of the greatest actors of all time to just a cameo. What the hell? Johnny Depp did pretty well in this movie, because like, he's Johnny Depp. He can do any role, right? Except for Willy Wonka. That sucked. But this is like, he wasn't as strong in this movie as he is in other movies. He's like more of a supporting character, which is like what he's supposed to be anyway, so what the hell. Like, he's mainly just a supporting character. He really wasn't as strong as I expected him to be, because usually Johnny Depp tends to steal the show in movies. Maybe he's trying to do that less, maybe because that's something that I'm working on for acting, like leaving it to the main actors while also giving your time in as well. Basically, I don't really have much more to say. I think that out of all the movies on this list, this one is my personal favorite on the list. It's the best one on this list. The story was great, characters were great, the 3D was spectacular, and overall it makes for a great film that technically I think does not get nearly as much credit as it deserves. So that's my top 10 films that I like but you all seem to hate list. I'm really fucked up, but you can call me the Black Phoenix 100. Signing out.